What's up to all the muscle car, vintage, classic car fans out there? This is Keith from North Carolina, and I would like to talk to you about my 1969 Camaro. She is glacier blue with white stripes. I'm going to explain to you where I purchased it from, how much I paid for it, why I purchased it, and I'm going to also talk to you about what I was looking for when I was look before prior to purchasing the car. I'm going to talk to you about the pros and cons, things I look for, things to avoid. I'm going to tell you about insurance requirements, how much I pay for insurance, where I purchase insurance from. I'm going to talk to you about my classic and vintage slash muscle cars that I currently own, where I have them insured, and how I ended up with that collection. And now we're also going to talk about vintage car, classic car, muscle car culture, and we're going to talk about the pros and cons of these cars, and hopefully this video will gain your support and interest. And so first off, I'm going to also share some pictures and videos, as you can see. Now, purchased this car back in September 2022. So how I purchased it is here in North Carolina. The cars, I like to purchase them within the state. I try to avoid purchasing anything online, sight unseen. However, I usually try to avoid Facebook Marketplace, but I think it's a wonderful place if you know what you're doing. The number one thing is there's a lot of scammers out there on Facebook Marketplace. People are double, triple selling cars to where you got people just scamming all over the place. People are trying to sell cars without the title. It's just cars that don't even belong to them. It's just you really have to be very, very mindful, be very careful. So I'm very particular when I was going on to Facebook Marketplace. I was actually looking for a C2, which is a 1961 to 67. I'm sorry. I was looking for a C2 Corvette. 60. Bear with me. 63 to 67 year. Okay, that's what I was looking for. Those are highly sought after. I currently own 3 Corvettes, couple Camaros, and some other cars. And like I say, this car popped up in my algorithm, glacier blue with white stripes, and it looked like it was pretty original based on the description and the pictures. And the only thing that didn't look original on the car were the wheels. Okay, with the mag wheels. So still, it was a very good looking, solid car. So instantly, so there's some things. Is some type of etiquette that you do have when you're buying these classic cars. So the seller on the other end, first of all, with the type of questions you ask and anything like that, they are going to know whether you're a serious or interested buyer. For example, if you're buying like a well-to-do or a pretty decent vintage car, especially something like I bought, you cannot expect to drive the car, test drive it, take it on a long drive like you can at a regular Chevrolet dealership or something like that. So I saw this car online, reached out to him. He tried to haggle him on the price over line a little bit. I think he only came down like $1,000 or something like that. But I didn't try to sound overly eager that I wanted the car, but I was ready to buy something. I had a price in mind. I was trying to buy something for 50,000 or under. This car I ended up purchasing. In my mind, I was like, you know what, if I can get this car for around 49,000, then I'll do it. So how that looks is, specifically, I had in mind that I was going to physically go talk to the gentleman here. I bought it locally here in North Carolina. I was going to talk to him and just be prepared to either be willing to walk away from the deal, or I was gonna go there with my pickup truck and my trailer to carry the car away. So I had in mind for the $49,000 price. So I physically went to the bank and got a certified cashier's check. You know, I drove 30 minutes to go take a look at the car. Before that, I moved past something. It's very very important to know. I called up the insurance company, who is American American Collectors Insurance. They do insure, I know for a fact, like North Carolina, Virginia, South Carolina. Okay, and so I called them up, and that you can expect for a car like this, you can expect to probably pay now American Auto Collectors Insurance, which I get into later. Anyway, premium on that is about 100, just $150, 6 month premium, which is going to provide you with collision and comprehensive. Then USAA, you can put that on later, but that's for liability insurance. So yes, USAA now, the last few years, they do have a division. Their insurance division now will provide you minimum coverage for liability. As you know, with these cars, when you're driving them to shows or to cruise, you want to be fully insured. Okay, you don't just want to protect yourself, but if something happens, you want to protect, people out there on the road. Nonetheless, so I had a couple good conversations, emails back and forth with the person selling the car, and so I got my insurance in place, and so I had the VIN number. I saw you pretty much year, make, a model, and VIN. The American Collectors Classic Car Insurance. Or you can also use Haverty's and things like that. They're going to want to see some basic photos of the car, interior, a couple exterior photos, and they want to know is it original, or what modifications been done to it. And so I went with my cashier's check, insurance in hand, ready to go. Physically drove with my pickup truck and trailer to this place to pick it up, and this person had a phenomenal looking place. It was he had this place. It was probably 150 by 100 foot garage where he stored mostly Camaros and vintage cars there, motorcycle. Very nice place. He had some high end stuff in there, like some Z28s and a couple SS's, and went there, and that car still stood out. It looked just as good in person as it did face to face. I walked around, looked at it, made sure it started up. And he had a trickle charger on there, and I talked to him a little bit, and finally I told him, hey, I'm ready to make a deal. And I checked it out. First of all, one of the things I prefer if I purchase a car, I want it to be in running condition, especially with these classic cars. I do care about the history. I like the cars being in the South, not Florida. That's they one of the leaders in the nation as far as like vintage car theft and conversion and things like that. So I do avoid purchasing Florida cars. I think the only Florida car that I do have, I inherited a 55 Ford Thunderbird out of there, and so the DMV here in North Carolina, any out of state cars, especially from Florida, uh, usually with the DMV, you can go get a car registered and proof of insurance and things like that, and get plates. And North Carolina, they have an additional step where you have to physically take the car to the DMV, and DOT inspectors look at the car. They do a VIN history and run some checks on it, and so they really scrutinize those cars. So just know, make sure the source, wherever you purchase a car, make sure it's highly credible, and do your due diligence. Do some Google searches or some research, and just make sure you're dealing with a straight up person. Okay, so a car, number one, I will not purchase anything. I won't even consider rust, or even you got to be careful with even if rust is being cut out and bondoed over. You got to be really careful with that. Um, so the car did a really good walk around and under the car over. I didn't have a mechanic with me, but I do highly recommend getting a mechanic to some type of somebody with some automotive technology. I'm sorry, automotive knowledge to go check out the car with you. So I look, make sure to you know, bounce the car from the hood, the front, and does it make a lot of noise when it's bouncing? Is the steering wheel straight? When the wheels are straight, is a steering wheel off centered? Uh, uh, crawled under the car. What kind of rear end does it have? Is it a 10 bolt, 12 bolt, or that's to give you an idea of, or even with the Camaros, the rear end, you can look at how many leaf springs are in the back to know that if it's is it original V8 car or was it a 6 cylinder. The size of the radiator. So you look at all that stuff. You look at the window sills. Just make sure the first sign of rust honestly is something simple. Is does it have any bubbles in the paint anywhere, or is it brown in color underneath the car? And so again, I was buying a car less than perfect. I definitely paid too much for it. I didn't get ripped off because we did settle for $49,000, but I was very happy. The guy was happy. I handed him the check, and we were good to go. So I pulled the car out, and after I gave him the certified cashier's check, I took the car around the block and ran fine. Again, it's the original car. Based on the VIN number, it was an original V8 car, so I had a 350. I think the Z28s are uh, like a 305 or something like that. I think your SSs are like a 396. The ZL1 is like aluminum block 427, extremely rare car. So with my budget, that was definitely out the question. Another thing, looking for a classic car, it doesn't have to be an SSRS or anything like that. I was looking for an original V8 car just because it has a little bit beefier suspension and the radiator and things like that setup might be a little bit different, a little bit bigger brakes. But I wasn't, I was gonna change that stuff anyway. But I do consider myself an automotive a purist, so I do like cars being pretty original. Even if it's not original under the hood, if I do upgrade it or have the attention on upgrading it, you know, uh, I still like it looking pretty original on the outside. So again, the rust I don't want to deal with that. Now, I do prefer the car to be in a running condition. Uh, I like the interior being pretty original. I like the title being clear and clean. So again, it's very important. I prefer to buy cars that are out of the Carolinas. I just feel a lot more comfortable. Um, you don't have to worry about rust too much, salt on the road. It just that's just my own comfort level. Now, some of your best classic and vintage cars you can find out of Georgia, very enticing. Florida, um, Arizona, Texas, California. A lot of your warmer climate places have some phenomenal cars. So again, me being a purist, I would tell you that I do respect the low rider culture out west. Uh, Texas has the slab cars. Georgia, Florida, and everybody in the southeast, with the donks and everything. For example, like very popular cars, the '74 Caprice. I would keep it original. I like the spoke wheels and everything, and so it depends on uh, your taste. But I do like, I don't like overly large wheels or anything like that. Nothing against it; those cars are amazing. But again, I'm more of a original type guy. Now, um, so now that once I purchased the car, I let it sit up for a while, and so of course driving the car, it does not drive. It didn't drive nearly as good as my. It was smooth to a point, but it did not drive you know nowhere near as good as my C7 Corvette. Didn't drive as good as my '78 Camaro that I have, Z28. So it was a little bumpy, squeaked, rattles. Um, it's carbureted car when I got it, so it it smells like fumes. So you're gonna have a hard time getting your girlfriend or wife to ride in there because they're definitely gonna complain about the smell. Also, I noticed, which is perfectly okay with it, when you turn the steering wheel, it had really excessive belt squeal. But again, the car is really good looking and solid, so um, it definitely didn't bother me quite as much because I knew I was gonna eventually change that out. So I had the car for at least a year. Um, Drove it very close local, and because I had an idea in my mind how I wanted that car, and what inspired me to eventually go ahead and get the work done to get the car changed. Uh, so another thing, you know, um, you know, to this point, these cars, these vintage and classic cars, don't drive anything like a modern car. What we mean by that, a lot of these cars are equipped with the transmission might be inadequate. So you're talking about a Power Glide, which is a two-speed transmission. You're talking about a Turbo 350. So with these Power Glides and things like that, once you get up to like 40 and 50 miles per hour, your engine is whining, when 4,000 RPM. So eventually, I knew I was gonna want to upgrade and get me a newer transmission, like a 4LA 60E. I think I said that right. And I was gonna even consider an LS upgrade. So, but I sketched out what I wanted the car. I knew I was gonna do retro modify the car. So what I did was, over the course of some months, I physically, had a sketchbook, and I kind of sketched out what I wanted to do with the car. Was I gonna keep it the same color? What was I gonna do to the interior? I know I wanted to upgrade the dash. Um, I was definitely gonna keep it an automatic. Not much I had to do with the interior other than add upgrade the stereo system a little bit and fix some of the electrical issues that I know I had. And I didn't like the wheels at first, but I explained that later. So, uh, but I also, real important, that you have in mind who you want to do the work on your car. Um, so originally, so I'll get into that later too, because I had to. I worked out a deal with somebody to work on it, but after a few weeks, I felt very leery and uncomfortable of this guy keeping my car and doing work on it and tearing it apart. Had a you have a If you have a really bad feeling about somebody, go ahead and man up, talk to them about it, and hey, it's your car, your money, and this if it doesn't work out, you don't work out. So I end up taking my car to a guy that has done work for me before, out of Woodbine, Maryland, and he did a phenomenal job upgrading my car. And so he previously had done my '49 Chevy Coupe, my '57 Chevy sedan. So yes, I mostly like Chevys. I'm very biased. Well, why do you like Chevy so much? Well, first of all, they have a very rich history. The parts for most of your Chevys are very abundant. If I'm not mistaken, most of your transmissions and engines all match. So you can probably take a LS1, and it'll sync up to any transmission, vice versa. So that's why I like it. The parts are very abundant. So it's not like you're buying some vintage Ferrari or Rolls Royce, Ferrari, something where it's extremely hard and challenging and expensive to source the parts, and you got to go overseas to get them and all that. So I think Chevy, into a point four, have a significant advantage as it relates to other cars. And the other cars that I own, again, I already mentioned some of them. One of my favorites is my 55 T-Bird, which I share with you. I do have a '08 BMW, sorry, 2005 BMW, um, 645 low mileage. So I still drive that from time to time. I have a '79 Corvette, which '79 Corvette, some of those C3s are definitely not very popular. They're not popular to any stretch of the imagination. Some would even consider them some of the worst Corvettes. But I did find one that I really like, and I'll make some videos on it. But I did some things to it to make it a lot more powerful, a lot more fun, and was still kind of keeping more of a original look. And so what else? So other than that, again, most importantly with this car, why do you want to buy some old car when you can buy a newer car, a sports car, and enjoy it more, and it's funner and it handles better and this and that? Well, it's the nostalgia that comes with driving a car. Yeah, you're gonna get a lot of looks, just like you can drive a new Corvette versus a '69 Camaro. I'm probably gonna get even more looks in a '69 Camaro. Okay. So, but what you can, the idea is take that Camaro, and the whole thing about the resto mod is having a somewhat original look, in my opinion. But underneath the hood, the transmission, everything will be a lot more modern. So again, hope you like this video, and I can't wait to make some more videos about my car, and show you my share with you my journey with this '69. Later.